Lola and Tiva, An Unlikely Friendship. Told by Juliana, Isabella, and Craig Hadcoff. Photos by Peter Grest. This is a narrative nonfiction. It's a true story. It's going to show you photographs and give you true, interesting details and facts. Today, as you listen to this narrative nonfiction, Lola and Tiva, I want you to try and identify key details from the text. Remember, key details are bits of important information that tell us more about the main idea or the topic. Look for key details as you listen to the story about Lola and Tiva. Lola and Tiva, An Unlikely Friendship. There is a very special place in Kenya, Africa, called the Liwa Wildlife Conservancy. Liwa is a large place where animals roam free and people, called rangers, watch over them. A young girl named Tiva lived there with her family. Her father worked for Liwa. Everyone at Liwa knew that Tiva had always wanted a puppy, but puppies were not allowed. Instead, the people at Liwa found Tiva a different kind of friend, a young black rhino named Lola. Lola seemed to work just as well as a puppy for Tiva. Lola and Tiva became the best of friends. This is their true story. We have already been introduced to some very important details in this nonfiction story. One detail that I want to note is that Tiva becomes friends with a baby black rhino named Lola. I have included that key detail on our detail chart. Let's keep reading and see what other key details we can find in this nonfiction text. Lola was born at Liwa to a mother that was blind. For a couple of days, Lola drank her mother's milk for food and stayed close by. But when she was strong enough to walk, Lola wandered off to another area of Liwa. Her mother could not see Lola walking away. Without her mother to feed and protect her, Lola was in danger. Animals roam free at Liwa. Lola needed food and could become a meal for a lion or another hungry animal. She could not find her mother, and her blind mother could not find her. The rangers who worked at Liwa searched for Lola. When they found her, they brought her to a safe place in Liwa that was near Tiva's house. There, Lola would be out of danger. Tiva was excited when Lola arrived. She wanted to take care of Lola. Like any baby, Lola needed many things. Most of all, Lola was hungry and needed milk. Tiva learned to feed Lola. Lola drank a bottle 5 times a day. Each time, she drank over a gallon. Remember, key details give us important information about what is happening in the text. From these pages, we learned that Lola could not find her mother and was in danger. Rangers found her and brought her to a safe place near Tiva's house. Tiva learned to feed Lola milk when Lola was hungry. Tiva loved Lola. Lola was a lot like a big puppy. She tried to climb things. She licked things. She smelled things. Lola begged at the dinner table. Like most pets, Lola never posed when Tiva tried to take pictures. She wanted to nap. But Lola did like for Tiva to pet her between the ears. We learned that Lola acted a lot like a big puppy. I've included that as one of our key details. How was Lola like a big puppy? If we go back and we reread that part of the text, we find that she tried to climb things, she licked things, she smelled things, and she even begged at the dinner table, just like a puppy. Of course, rhinos are not really like dogs. They don't eat dog food. When Lola was about 5 months old, she started to eat like a real rhino. She ate shrubs, twigs, and leaves. Her upper lip is shaped like a hook and can grab onto food. Lola could wrap her hook around sticks and leaves, but she still loved to drink her milk too. Rhinos in the wild are usually shy. They often run away if they see or smell people. Lola was too young to be afraid of people. Tiva and the Rangers became her family. We have learned a lot of key details about Lola and Tiva. I've added 2 more key details to our graphic organizer. Lola began to eat like a real rhino. And Tiva and the Rangers became Lola's family. Those are important key details. Let's keep reading and see what else we can identify in the rest of the text. A baby rhino is called a calf. A calf usually stays with its mother for 2 years. The mother watches over her calf. Lola needed someone to look after her. Tiva became Lola's special friend. Like a pet, Lola needed special care. Tiva helped pick bugs off Lola's body. The bugs could make Lola sick. In the wild, birds eat the bugs off a rhino's skin. But birds would not do that for Lola. There were too many people around. Lola also needed to take baths, mud baths. When a rhino rolls in the mud, it is called wallowing. It is an important part of being a rhino. The mud protects the rhino's skin from the sun, like sunscreen. Once the mud dries, it also keeps bugs from biting. Tiva made sure Lola knew how to wallow. It isn't as easy as it looks. It takes a lot of practice. A rhino does not have to wash the mud off. A little girl does. Lola and Tiva shared their days together. Lola learned about being a rhinoceros. Tiva learned about being a friend. It was a lot of fun, and it wore them out. Remember, key details give us important information about the text. We learned some more important key details about Lola and Tiva. I added 2 more at the bottom of our graphic organizer. Tiva made sure Lola learned how to wallow. That was an important skill that Lola needed to know. And Lola and Tiva shared their days and learned together. Now Lola is almost full grown. She is too big to play with Tiva like she used to. But the time they spend together will always be special. After all, a little girl never forgets her first best friend. From the last page in this text, we find one more key detail. Lola is grown, but Tiva will never forget her friend. They made a lot of special memories together. We were able to find 9 key details from this story about Lola and Tiva. You may have even picked out a few more that I did not include. You will have an opportunity to identify key details on Seesaw. A letter from Juliana, Isabella, and Craig Hatkoff. To our readers, what does a little girl who lives in Africa do if she can't have a pet dog? She takes in a pet rhino. That is if she lives on a nature conservancy, like Tiva did. When we first saw the photographs of Lola and Tiva playing together, we fell in love with their story. We think it is every young animal lover's dream to feed, take care of, and be friends with a wild animal. We hope you enjoy the true story of Lola and Tiva as much as we do. With hope and peace, Craig, Juliana, and Isabella Hatkoff. Peter Grest. Peter likes to take photos for news stories. One story he photographed told of the friendship between a baby hippo and a giant tortoise.